Right, hello everybody, welcome to the Adam Clery football channel, Adam Clery obviously, and by way of introduction, today we're going to show you how Arsenal came up against a team who set up like this, that's 5 at the back and 2 very handy defensive midfielders in front of them, and yet were able to routinely manufacture situations like this. Their very best striker of a ball on the edge of the box with both space and impunity. Because this, happening once against this sort of setup, is pretty good going, but just to spoil a graph I'm going to be using later in the video, they did it 8 separate times and scored from 4 of them. So yes, just in case that wasn't immediately obvious, this is how Arsenal destroyed Tottenham. And as an aside, today we are being sponsored by Surfshark. Right, so these were your respective starting 11s for this match, and I will tell you now, as a neutral, right, that this was one of the most one-sided derby games relative to the strength of both squads I have ever seen. Because Tottenham, going into this, were the Premier League's best away team. And I'm not making that up, this is the away table from before the match. They're on the same points as Chelsea, with a game less, only 3 goals conceded, the joint best goal difference, but you would never ever have thought that if you were watching this game. They looked repeatedly like they had no idea how to get at Arsenal, and Arsenal were just brilliant in terms of both their game plan from the start and the way in which the individuals then went and executed it. Now we're going to talk about both of those things in this video, right? But I'm going to do Spurs first to get them out of the way, because what I really want to talk about is how good Arsenal were, but I think there is still some important context in just how bad Thomas Frank got this wrong. And even just before this match kicked off, the vibes were coming off the Tottenham team sheet in big, wavy green lines. And don't get me wrong, 5 at the back in a game like this, I don't actually hate that if you do what they did against PSG, which is have 3 players in the middle, 2 up front, Kudus as one of the central out balls, and just really get in their face with it. You can see right from the start that was not what was happening here. It was another flat 4 in front and Richarlison all on his own against 2 centre-backs. Like, I audibly went, oh no, like 5 minutes into this game when this loose ball goes back to Vicario and he does the classic 93rd minute, I won't pick this up unless you make me trick. We have barely kicked off here and you are trying to slow the game down and buy a couple of seconds. You are treating a 0-0 in the 5th minute like it's a 1-0 in the 93rd. Don't get me wrong, frustrating Arsenal, shithousing them, congesting the middle of the pitch, all very smart. I like that, but you do need to have something, anything, going the other way, and here they quite categorically did not. And what's weird is it almost felt deliberate, because the handful of free kicks they picked up around the halfway line, they loaded the box with their centre-backs and had Vicario take them. And that might not look that unusual, goalkeepers take long kicks into the box all the time, but it's normally very late on in the game, not from the very start, so it's sort of smacked as it having been discussed as their best or only route to goal. But given they didn't have a single shot on goal until Richarlison did his best Kenny McLean tribute act, I think it's fair to say that Thomas Frank got this assessment of the match, got his setup really badly wrong. He did not give his players a chance to go out there and get anything, I think. In fact, what I really could not get my head around was the way in which Tottenham wanted to press Arsenal, because on the rare occasions, right, where you'd have Kudus or Odegaard jump out to try and support Richarlison, disrupt Arsenal's build-up, at best, they were finding themselves in a 3 versus 5 situation. And at worst, doing that leaves Arsenal these little areas here, the spaces either side of Paulinho and Bentancur, which is where Arsenal do all of their best rotations. That's where they tend to be at their strongest. So none of this, to me, made any sense. I couldn't even see what they were trying to do. Like, arguably, Arsenal's 2 strongest areas are here in the build-up and here in these inside channels, so sending 2 lads to press a situation they can't do anything in while opening the door for Arsenal to overload you behind them just makes no sense. Thomas Frank even said after the game that the idea was for them to be really aggressive from front to back, press Arsenal really high and basically do what they did in the PSG game, but just I don't know. I don't see how you can do that with this setup. So either he's just said that because it sounds good, or there is a total disconnect between what he wanted his players to do and what they were actually doing. And yet, for 36 minutes of this game, you did start to think they might actually get away with this, you know? Arsenal's only real chance before the goal looked a bit weird and awkward, but it was actually an indication of exactly what it was they were trying to do to Tottenham. And it ends up being a better bit of foreshadowing than you have seen in any single Marvel movie. The flick from Eze is brilliant, but he is squarely in the number 10 position. Not in the inside left where he is at his best, not in the inside right where he was allegedly starting, but squarely in the number 10 position. And just take a second to look at the positions of Paulinho and Bentancur. They are the two players who should be protecting that exact position, and yet they have been dragged out onto that right-hand side and then bypassed with the ball into the middle. And my God, is that going to be a theme of this video. This means that when Eze gets the ball, that is a wild amount of space to find yourself with against a team who are using a back five and have two defensive midfielders. And this very idea of clearing out Bentancur and Paulinho by overloading Tottenham down this right-hand side and then moving it from there into Eze in the middle was Arsenal's entire game plan. And if we have a look, and I'll just clear out all of these, sorry lads, out the way 1 second, at Arsenal's entire pass map from that first half, which I would not normally show you, by the way, because that is too much information. It's too many green lines. It's very difficult to see clear patterns, but I am showing you it here because it is nuts. The clear difference in how they were probing Tottenham down this right-hand side versus the left is absolutely staggering. Okay, so as mentioned before, we are today being sponsored by our good pals at Surfshark. And I know I have previously said we were only going to do collaborations with cool brands like clothing labels or stats providers or some betting firm you've previously never heard of. Dream soon come, but I have very recently changed my mind about VPNs. Turns out I'm actually just incredibly passionate about online security and privacy. So yeah, Surfshark being a VPN, it's good for both of those things, and being just a stand-up bunch of sports fans like we are, its geo-blocking features mean that you can take your subscriptions with you if you're traveling. And not to overshare here slightly, but if I am paying to be able to watch something, what business is it of the Japanese government if I choose to do so in a maid cafe? How about minding your business? Anyway though, they now have a 7-day subscription for just over £7, which they tell me is absolutely perfect for fans of sports. For fans of sports. Also, nobody can steal your data if you're using some incredibly ropey hotel Wi-Fi, as they've got over 4,500 servers in 100 different countries, and the encryption is apparently next generation. I don't know, I've got absolutely no idea what that means either, but it certainly sounds impressive. So yes, no hackers, no geo restrictions, no device management because you've got unlimited simultaneous connections, all for £7.49 for just 7 days. I think that's really good actually, because as I say, I'm suddenly a very big fan of VPNs. The link is in the description if you would like to check that out. Thanks everyone, message ends. They were just constantly moving the ball down this side. And if you look at the numbers of the players involved here, like obviously there's Saka and there's Timber because they were playing on that side, but we've also got Rice in there, Saliba, Zubamendi, even Eze himself. This is about as clear a picture of an idea being executed as I could ever possibly show you. This was how they wanted to probe Tottenham's block. Which, yep, that does sound absolutely filthy, but just bear with me. Normally, you would try and do that centrally, wouldn't you? Like if, as in this example here, Marino drops out of the last line, that could potentially drag Romero with him, but he does not follow him because the space in front is so tightly guarded by Paulinho and Bentancur. So without any obvious way to pull a centre-back out of position and get somebody in behind, what they're doing instead is adding more and more bodies to this area of the pitch until Bentancur and Paulinho are forced to come over and support, at which point you bypass them by going this way instead of through the middle. And if you put all of those bits of information together, right-sided overload, centre-backs not dropping, bypassing the defensive midfielders, you get Arsenal's first goal. Arsenal have Saka, Timber, Saliba and Rice in this zone, right? Bentancur and Paulinho have to come over to help. Marino drops off the front. The defenders do not go with him. The pass comes inside. He gets it and he has this much space. And obviously that alone does not get you the goal. Like Paulinho actually does get back across. But the point is, there's not a single bit of pressure on the ball while Marino has got it. And he, along with loads of other players in this Arsenal side, are good enough to hurt you in that situation. Which of course he does. The run from Trossard's really good. He floats a brilliant ball in. And yes, okay, the finish is very fortunate, but they've just got in twice doing that exact same thing. And those little deflections can just happen when you're panicking trying to get a block in. And the second goal on first viewing does look a bit different because the cross gets cut out along the way and Paulinho and Bentancur do get back in. But go to the replay. You got Arsenal with 4 players down this side again, and also again, where is the screen? One is on the touchline, the other is 15 yards away from Eze. So it does get cleared, yes, but when it goes all the way back to Rice, look at how much room Eze has on the edge of that box. Against a back 5 with 2 defensive midfielders, once again, they have loads of space 18 yards from goal. It's genuinely crazy watching this back, just how easy they found it to get the ball in here once they'd overloaded that side. The third goal here, and you're not going to believe this, but Arsenal have 5 players now down this right-hand side. Paulinho and Bentancur, they're highlighted here. Eze is in behind them with space in front, and after it bobbles around a bit, stop it when the pass comes in. Against a back 5 with 2 defensive midfielders, I am almost sick of saying it. At this point, he is completely free on the edge of the box. And none of these goals are tap-ins, by the way. Like the 2 Eze finishes up until this point are both absolutely fantastic. But that is what players at this level can do to you if you turn up in a massive away game with the mindset of we do not give them any space in the middle, and when they rotate in front of us, we do not break the shape. But then end up leaving a player as good as Eze free on the edge of the box just because you're slightly worried about them having a man extra on the touchline. That doesn't work. Like, Eze's heat map in this game is just absolutely nuts. Like, he is starting as the right-sided number 8, Martin Ødegaard's position, so he's picking up the ball loads in the same space as he would, but he's spending almost the exact same amount of time, having almost the exact same contribution to this game from here. 18 yards from goal against a team who, for that first 45 minutes at least, barely moved from the edge of their own box. I am truly sorry to any Tottenham fans who are still watching the video at this point, right? But if you need like a graph-based laugh, then, well, first of all, you can just look at the momentum chart for this game. If these are new to you, they measured like combined factors of possession, passes, chances, all of that. And Tottenham, who would have gone 4th today if they'd won, by the way, are not even really on it. But mainly, it's this overlay of all of Arsenal's chances. Because you've got a few headers near the goal and a few why the hell not. I think that's Saka's free kick. But by and large, every single chance Arsenal managed to create, again, against a back 5 with 2 defensive midfielders, is from this exact area centrally on the edge of the box. It's the position on the pitch where you least want to give a chance up from. Tottenham spent massive chunks of the game camped out like this, and yet you could still throw a friggin' beach towel over most of Arsenal's goals on goal. That's... I haven't got the words. But more than this, right, I think if I'm Mikel Arteta, the thing that pleases me the most about this match is not that you got the game plan absolutely spot on or the players executed it really well, right? It's that the fourth goal in the 76th minute against an opponent who've done nothing but shoot from the centre circle, right, comes from the fact you are still working really hard and pressing them high up the pitch. You can see Arteta on the touchline here screaming at them to get up as Spurs play the ball back. And Vicario now does not want to go long because they've changed the formation. But Eze, Marino, Rice and Saka all jump up, lock on man for man and stop him having any options. They prevent Tottenham from playing out from the back. They force it back to the goalie, force him to go long, then eat up the aerial ball. And if you just stop it when it gets to Mikel Marino, right? Look at Trossard wanting to get up and support more than Spence wants to get back and cover. He was 5 yards the other side a couple of seconds ago, but he breaks, he gets in, he leaves him behind, he finds Eze in the exact same space again, and it's just game over. Hat-trick, see you later. And we mentioned before, didn't we, like this possible disconnect between what Thomas Frank was saying he wanted his players to do and what the reality was on the pitch. Well, look at Arteta at the start of that sequence and look at exactly what happens. That is night and day. So yes, my Arsenal supporting friends have asked me to stop saying this because I'm going to ruin it apparently, but I think it's their title to lose now. Like, they're the best team, playing the best football, getting the best results. They're without loads of players. They're missing their best centre-back, their playmaker, probably 3 lads who would start up front before Marino, and they scored 4 goals here and could have had more. Like, I'm serious, Man City haven't had a big away win in over a year. The wheels have completely fallen off at Liverpool, and if they beat Chelsea this weekend, it would be their 4th defeat of the season already. And over the last couple of seasons, that's about the most amount of games you can afford to lose if you want to win the league. And it would be November. So yes, not to put the ACFC kiss of death on all of this, but this was the performance and the result of a team who are going to go on and win the Premier League, I think. But of course, what is far more important than that is what you think, Arsenal fans. Is this your season? Was this just a very nice day at the office? All comments or thoughts or feelings, song, verse, poetry, however you like to express yourself, it's all very welcome down below. We do read it all and we love it. You can get me across all the social medias at Adam Clery, Clery. And to misquote Mariah Carey, right, because it's what, the 24th now, all I want for Christmas is 200,000 subscribers. So if you haven't yet subscribed to us here at ACFC, you can do that by clicking the little button. And you probably have friends who also like football. So if you want to send it to them and be like, here's 15 minutes of your time you won't regret spending, that'd be really nice too. Thanks. Until next time though, this has been the Adam Clery Football Channel. I have been Adam Clery on his football channel, and that was how you win a derby. Hoo boy, and such. Goodbye.